envision like the little old people that live on the ground floor of your apartment complex, and you guys are upstairs, and they're just banging on the ceiling with a broom.
Yeah.
That's what the people in the bank below us do. When we
They're hating us right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, you two grew up, and I'm assuming probably all you guys grew up with a lot of music in your house. You guys have referenced that several times.
Yes.
How much of an influence was the music that you grew up around with your parents? Because I think anybody who grows up with parents that are into music,
Yeah.
or kind of fanatical about any type of music, you grow up differently because you view music a little bit differently. How important and kind of influential was that for you guys?
Yeah, it's hugely important. We grew up in a house where bands like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, lots of real classic, 60s and 70s music was being played. So I feel like it's a great grounding. If you're aware of, the Beatles alone, if you know what the Beatles did, you'll probably give up and not even try. But if you do continue, it's good to be aware of of what comes before you, and like you say, you become aware. You listen to music in a different way.
So it's because I try to think about where you see schools are eliminating music programs when they have to get rid of things, and it's like, no, music can form as much about you as history class. And some people, if you're like me, you learned history through Iron Maiden songs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool to see that. Plus, I know you guys. Did you build your own recording studio?
We did.
How long did that take?
It took us 2 years.
And did it give you more freedom to kind of feel like you could find who you were before you jumped out?
Yeah, the whole thinking behind it was, we didn't think it was going to take us 2 years, but it did. And it was supposed to be a 3-month project that got completely out of hand. But the great thing was, even though it did take us a long time and sapped all of our money, but it did give us this freedom where we had this room which was as good as any studio in Adelaide that we could experiment in and not feel like the clock was running. You go into a studio and you might hire it for 2 weeks and you're paying a lot of money each day. So there's a certain inherent pressure that comes with that. So we didn't have that when we were recording and writing.
And did that give you, it make you or kind of force you or give you the comfort zone to branch out and try new things? Or is it a little too, because sometimes when you take all the reins off, it gets out of control because you're like, no, let's try it this way instead and this way.
There is that. I think we went through that phase before we built the studio we have now. We had a sort of more of what you call a bedroom studio before, and I think we sort of did that, went through that phase of just losing yourself and producing nothing in a year where you just write and write, but it's sort of, it's valuable time I think as well. But you're right, you can do that. You can lose yourself and end up producing nothing. But I think in the last couple of years we sort of worked out how to focus and really finish songs to the point where they were ready to be released.
And speaking of finished songs, you have another one for us. Tell us a little bit about the next track you're going to play.
This is a song called If So, which we just released into the world the other week, a week ago I think. And the story, this was inspired by that atmosphere you find in nightclubs, which I just find fascinating.
Ladies and gentlemen,